The pyramids of Egypt stand as colossal testaments to human ingenuity and engineering prowess. They have captivated our imaginations for millennia, yet these majestic structures have long been intertwined with a pervasive myth, the notion that they were built by slaves toiling under the whip. This image, popularized by Hollywood and ingrained in popular culture, is a distortion of historical reality. Archaeological evidence paints a vastly different picture, one where skilled laborers, driven by faith and national pride, contributed to the construction of these monumental tombs. For centuries, the prevailing narrative surrounding the pyramids has been one of forced labor and unimaginable suffering. We've been conditioned to envision throngs of subjugated people driven to exhaustion under the scorching desert sun. This narrative, however compelling, is not supported by the historical record. Instead, evidence suggests that the pyramids were built by free Egyptians who volunteered their labor. The misconception of slave labor likely stems from a misinterpretation of ancient texts and a lack of understanding of the societal structure of ancient Egypt. In reality, slavery existed in ancient Egypt, but it was not the driving force behind the construction of these monumental structures. The pyramids were not products of oppression, but testaments to the ingenuity, skill, and faith of a civilization at its zenith. Let us delve into the evidence that debunks this enduring myth and illuminates the true nature of pyramid construction in ancient Egypt. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence debunking the slave labor myth lies in the discovery of worker cemeteries adjacent to the pyramids. These cemeteries, far from being mass graves of the mistreated, reveal a story of respect and care for the deceased. The tombs themselves are well constructed and often contain burial goods, indicating that the workers were not treated as disposable commodities. Furthermore, the skeletal remains of the workers, studied by archaeologists and anthropologists, tell a story that contradicts the image of overworked and malnourished slaves. The bones show no signs of malnutrition or the kind of repetitive stress injuries one would expect from a lifetime of forced labor. Instead, the skeletons suggest a diverse workforce engaged in various tasks requiring different skill sets. The presence of these cemeteries and the state of the burials within them strongly suggest that the workers were not slaves, but rather respected members of society. They were skilled laborers who took pride in their work and were honored in death. These findings provide a stark contrast to the grim picture often painted of pyramid construction. Beyond the evidence from the tombs, historical records and artifacts paint a picture of the pyramid builders' lives that extends far beyond mere survival. These workers were not a faceless mass toiling in misery, but individuals with names, families, and lives outside their monumental task. Papyri records from the time detail the organization of work gangs, payment in the form of grain and other goods, and even days off for religious festivals. These records provide glimpses into the lives of the builders, revealing a system that was organized, structured, and far from the brutal conditions often associated with slave labor. Workers were provided with housing in nearby villages, and archaeological evidence suggests a varied diet that included bread, beer, and even meat. The care taken in the construction of worker settlements, the evidence of a diverse diet, and the documentation of payment all point towards a workforce that was valued and treated with a degree of respect. This evidence challenges the traditional narrative of slave labor and sheds light on the societal structures that allowed for such monumental construction projects. To truly understand the construction of the pyramids, we must move beyond the physical aspects and delve into the cultural and religious significance they held for the ancient Egyptians. The pyramids were not merely tombs for pharaohs, they were monumental expressions of faith, representing the eternal journey of the pharaoh's soul to the afterlife. The construction of these structures was therefore not seen as a burden, but as a sacred duty, a tangible manifestation of religious belief. For the workers, participating in the construction of a pyramid was an act of profound religious significance. It was an opportunity to contribute to something larger than themselves, to play a role in ensuring the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife and, by extension, the continued prosperity of Egypt. This spiritual dimension helps explain the immense effort and care that went into every aspect of pyramid construction. This understanding of the pyramids as expressions of faith in the workers as willing participants in a sacred duty requires a significant shift in perspective. It challenges us to view these structures not just as feats of engineering, but as powerful symbols of a complex and deeply spiritual civilization.